introduce to you is one that I'm sure if you're following me you will know. This is Nero, and he is my absolute best friend in the entire world. So I feel like my journey with Nero started a long time before I actually got him. He has always been such a massive influence in my life, until he just leaves when I say that. Before I got Nero, I was following him since 2012 on YouTube, and he's always inspired me because he was this outcast. He was a gypsy cob. He was tethered at the side of the road when a girl called Zoe Ackroyd rescued him, and she brought him on and started show jumping him. And I think she jumped him up to 110 in British show jumping before he went to Sophie Ball, who then competed him up to about 120. And then he went to a very good friend of mine, Natalie McQuiggan, who took him all the way, produced him all the way through the levels and took him to the top when he was jumping pony show jump fences, which were between 135 and 145, so some big tracks. And I feel like he's always inspired me because he started out as nothing, and you know, I started out from just doing these tiny little like country shows where you're jumping like in a field in the middle of nowhere over like 40 centimetre fences. It was my absolute dream come true to finally get him in 2014, and I think we all secretly knew we were never going to get rid of him, but the plan initially was to just keep him for a year until my last year on ponies was up and then sell him, but obviously we've kept him a lot longer than that. We went to our first show at Speakley and he came second in both his classes. And I remember doing my first 120 on him at West Park, and remember thinking like, gosh, we're never going to get clear around this 120, because I'd had Bob previously, and Bob had just moved up to 120 before his accident, which we'll get onto in a minute. But he wasn't very consistent at 120 at all, so he hadn't given me much confidence at that level. But Nero flew round that 120, went treble clear, finishing in the final round at 135. And yeah, he came second that day, which was an absolute dream. I feel like every show I went to with Nero, I thought like, wow, this is my dream come true, no, this is my dream come true, and it just seemed to get better and better. In the winter season, Nero won the Winter JA qualifier at Arena UK, which was a 3-round competition as well. Started at 130 and finished at 145, 150 in the last round, which was such a big achievement because at the beginning of the winter season, he wasn't so great. He would jump all the way around the winter JAs and then get to the last part, which was more often than not the combination, and he'd just stop because we didn't realise, but he had a bit of a confidence knock the previous season. Natalie was off ponies, so another girl was riding him for her, and unfortunately they had a crash in the treble at Welsh Home Pony, which knocked his confidence, and he didn't do another combination after that until he came to us, so no one really realised that it had knocked his confidence at all. But yeah, we got through it in the end, and the first time he jumped through it, he won the class. So I couldn't complain there. And then it was on to the summer season with him, where it was time to try and qualify for Horse of the Year show, something that Natalie had narrowly missed out on at Bishop Burton with her year with him. So I was so determined that we were going to qualify, and we came close so many times throughout the beginning to the end of the season, and finally at the last qualifier he went double clear and won the Pony Show Jumper of the Year at Morris Equestrian Centre, which continues to be one of the best moments of my entire life. That moment when we got into the jump off, I was just ecstatic. I thought we had time faults in the first round, and then the commentator said that's the first clear of the Pony Show Jumper of the Year, and I was so excited. But then we got into the jump off and there were 4 of us, and only 3 people get to qualify for Horse of the Year show. So that was really stressful because we all thought that we were going to be the unlucky ones, because we've been unlucky in every qualifier so far, and I just thought that this one was going to be the same. So, and I was first to go as well, so I had no idea what I had to do to secure a place. So I went into the jump off and I just gave it my all. I did every turn that I could see, and I didn't really know the jump off course. And yeah, I galloped him down to the last, which was such a risk, but he took it and he cleared it by miles and galloped through the finish timers, and he'd gone clear, he'd gone double clear, and I was so happy with him. And at that point, regardless of what had happened, I wouldn't have minded. I was so happy with Nero. And the second pony went in and the second fence fell, And it took a moment in my head to clock that we just qualified for Horse of the Year show regardless. And then the third pony went in, they did a really good round and they were clear but a lot slower. You could visibly see that they were slower than our round. The last pony went in and rocketed round, and she didn't do any of the turns, but it just seemed like the pony was like galloping the whole time. And I thought, oh well, second place is great, you know, we've done really well getting second. And then when she landed over the last fence, I'll always remember the commentator saying, it's quick, but it's not quick enough. And I thought, oh my god, we've won the pony show timber. I'm gonna cry just talking about it. It was like honestly the best moment of my entire life. Oh no, I'm gonna cry. We went to Hoyes that year. He also won the Dung Glen at Scope Festival, one of the prelims, not the final, one of the prelims. And at Horse of the Year show, I was a bit disappointed in myself, but not with Nero at all. He was so good and so brave, and he looked after me that whole time in this big, well, I say big ring, it's not actually a big ring, but this scary ring, so many people watching and stuff. And everyone was clapping as we entered the ring, and like, it was great. You know, they were still clapping for the pony before us. It was all going swimmingly, I was quite happy. And then all of a sudden, when they said, now it's the Dark Emperor and Kate Lewis, and then they said, best of luck to Kate Lewis and the Dark Emperor, and it all just went silent. Like, you could have heard a pin drop in that room, I'm not joking. Anyway, yeah, we finished 18th, I think, in the country, which is still very respectable considering I started out in my career and how Nero started out in his, so we were pleased with that. And of course we decided to keep Nero and to compete him as a horse, which he found so much better. I get asked a lot how Nero coped with the stride change and stuff. He coped amazingly because, to be fair, every pony distance was way too short for his massive stride. I'd be like pulling him back down every distance going, wait Nero, whereas in horses I could just sit quiet and let him do his thing. And it was really good. And he was incredibly successful in horses as well. One of the standout memories I have in horses with Nero was when we went to Bishop Burton. We did an accumulator, which is basically like the first part is a speed round and then the final fence is a joker, which is a big fence, and you get points for every fence you clear, and you know, obviously you get points taken away for any mistakes you make, and you get more points for jumping the bigger fence at the end than the alternative that they have. So we were in the warm-up for that, and there was this group of girls walking around, and I remember them saying something like along the lines of, what is that doing here? And you know, why is she in this class? What is she doing in this? And I just remember thinking, just you wait, alright? And Nero was last to go, and these three girls went in and they all attempted the joker and they all had it down, or one of them stopped and one of them fell off at it. And then when we got to the joker at the end, I just pointed him at the joker and Nero knew exactly what I wanted him to do, and he cleared the joker by miles, and all those three girls were just in stunned silence. And it was always great in horses because everyone underestimated him so much and he always proved them wrong. Unfortunately, his career with me came to an end in 2017, in October. We were at Bishop Burton competing in a 105. And he landed after the last, he was clear, he actually finished 4th, and then I heard a crack and he bolted, and the crack sounded like it had come from the crowd, and I thought, has someone dropped something, has something snapped or something, a pole, or I had no idea. It was quite a loud crack, and had Nero spooked and just bolted. But when I finally managed to pull him up, I only stayed on him for one stride because I could immediately feel that he was severely lame. And it was the scariest moment of my entire life. It was absolutely devastating. Because I was crying my eyes out, bawling my eyes out to my dad, who had just called the vet to come and see him on site. And I was just saying to my dad, don't let them put him down, don't let them put him down, please don't let them put him down. And I was crying my eyes out, and it just seemed like the end. My friends were coming in and giving me a massive hug. They were crying too, saying it'll be alright and stuff. And I was with Nero, and it was such a weird injury because there was no heat, there was no swelling. We had no idea what was injured, we just knew it was that leg. The vet came on, we thought he'd broken something, and the vet x-rayed him on site, and there was nothing there. 2 days later, not the day after, the day following that, Nero's hock just went, it was massive, and he had slipped his deep digital flexor tendon that runs over the top of his hock off to the side, But they said with this tendon that had gone down the side of his hock, they said the best thing to happen with it would be for it to snap off, because he didn't need it and it was restricting his movement. By moving on and off the top of his hock, it was going to damage things further. They can either do surgery or they can keep him in and see how it goes. And I never thought I'd ride him again, but a year later we had our first canter on the beach bareback, and it was one of the best moments of my entire life. Getting something that you never thought you'd get back with someone so special to you was just phenomenal. Nero, I owe everything to. I'm gonna cry just talking about it. Nero, I just owe everything to. He is my absolute life. I would do anything for him, and he's, I don't know, I feel like he saved me in general as well, because I've been through a lot mentally over the last few years, and Nero has just been such a huge part in just giving me a reason to just keep going every day. And yeah, I'm gonna cry. So he is always gonna be here. He's gonna retire here with us, and yeah, work-wise at the moment he's just hacking, he's going on the beach, he's doing endurance rides, he's enjoying himself, and I couldn't be happier for him, and I'm so grateful that I get to spend every day with my best friend. My god, I'm such a mess. I'm such a wreck. Okay, so I just realised that clip with Nero is about 20 minutes long. That's going to take some fun editing, Kate. Well done. This is Evie, everyone. She is a 16 hands, very fat at the moment. Okay, but don't tell her I said that. Mare, and she is a Dutch warm blood out of Vanoverbeek and Eilever. So, you know, they got real creative with her show name, didn't they? Vilever. The V off Vanoverbeek and Eilever. Well done, guys. And Evie is literally the bravest horse I have ever ridden in my entire life. And she's beautiful. She's like a supermodel, aren't you? There is nothing she wouldn't jump. There's nothing too big. She has just been amazing. I got her in 2015 and I did children on horses with her for the first year. And I didn't do much with her, to be honest. I think we did maybe like 4 or 5 classes the whole year. Like, we did nothing. And Evie was amazing. I took her to Poise and she placed every day apart from the final, because as you can see from my reacting to show jumping fails video, the final of Evie's children and horses at Poise didn't go too well. Nothing to do with her, completely on me. 2016, in 2016 we kind of upped what we were doing a little bit. We were doing a lot more. I got her to talent seeker level, which was something I never thought we would ever do, which is a Hoys qualifier, and the talent seekers, the first half of it is 130 and the second half is 140. And I remember walking it with my dad, and he never normally walked courses with me, but we just had Evie at the show. It was quite chilled. But yeah, we were walking around, and even the 130 section of this course looked enormous. It was built massive. And we got to the third fence, and it was a treble bar, and I'm not joking, it was about 2 meters wide, and it was like 135 high, and it looked horrendous, okay? I feel like the videos of it just do not do it justice at all. And I remember saying to my dad, like, oh my god, we are never gonna get over this. And Dad was like, of course you are, it's fine, you'll be fine. And then we got to the combination, which was the first thing in the 140 section. Thank you, course builders, for putting the combination in the 140 section. Thank you very much. Shout out to you. And it was just enormous. It was like upright in and then a massive octo in the middle and then upright out. And I was like, oh my god, we are finished. And Dad was like, no, it's fine, it's fine. And she jumped it and it was all my fault. We jumped it so well. She was incredible. Her first attempt at a track that big, and she would have been clear. She had the last fence down and it was completely my fault. I did one of those typical mistakes where you just switch off to the last fence because you think you're clear. You're like, oh yeah, I don't have to try anymore. I'm basically clear. We've only got 1 fence to go. And we had it down, so yeah, joke's on me. Last year we did Chepstow International with her and she placed in 2 of the classes through the week. She was, I think, 4th in the speed class and then 2nd in the accumulator out of over 100 horses. So she's really fast. She's an absolute speed demon and she's really like straightforward to ride. but in like a technical sense, because she's so willing, and I feel like that makes her a little bit easier. But she's so tired all the time. All she does is yawn. But she's just difficult to ride in a way of keeping her calm and knowing when to let go, when to release, when to hold her and stuff, because she likes to be left on her own terms, but you can't just leave her completely or else she'd just never stop. But she is amazing, and currently she is off with an injury. Fortunately, she qualified Hoys in 2016, but she went lame a week before with an SI injury, which took us 8 months to right that injury, and then it took loads of time getting her back into fitness and getting her out jumping again. Unfortunately, in 2018, in April, was diagnosed with digital flexor tears in both her front feet, which was very unfortunate, but she's had nearly a year off for that injury now, so we are hoping that soon she's going to return to some work. We're really hoping to get her out swimming very soon, actually. Yeah, we're still not riding yet, but I'm really hoping that she has a chance at coming back and making a comeback. She'll be scanned again when the year is up, and hopefully we get the all clear to continue. Oh, she nearly ate my face! She nearly ate my face! Hopefully we'll get the all clear to continue and do some more work. Yeah, she is incredible.